Hey there everyone, welcome back to Authority Builder's Ranking Secrets. My name is Jake Sirota, and before we get started for today's episode, make sure to hit like and subscribe. Today's episode is all about Backlink Audits 101, how to tell if your backlinks are actually hurting you or if they're helping you. Now, whether you've built a few links yourself or you've handed them off to a less than reputable freelancer, you should know what's in your backlink profile. Because if you are getting attacked by maybe competitors with negative SEO, you need to understand what steps you need to take in order to clean up your backlink profile. That's why it's so important to keep track of what types of links are being built to your website. You don't want one bad backlink attack to undo all of the months of good quality backlinking work that you and your team have been doing. So that's why it's so important to understand what it takes to do a good backlink audit. So let's go ahead and get practical and go to our best tips for auditing your backlink profile. So first things first, here's the deal. Backlinks still matter. Even in this changing AI search landscape, it's very important to understand that our data and countless other SEO companies with good case studies are showing that the strongest sites online all have one thing in common, and that's a strong, reputable backlink profile. Now, any website that's been around long enough is going to suffer some sort of spammy links. So just because you're getting some toxic or bad-looking backlinks doesn't mean that you need to go and start disavowing every single one of those links. However, what most people get wrong is that you don't just run an audit after you get a manual action penalty in Google Search Console or after your rankings already crash. You need to keep track of what your backlink profile looks like on a monthly, maybe even quarterly basis. Now, continuous monitoring is always the best practice, but there are a couple of signs that might show that you need to perform a backlink audit sooner rather than later. If these signs start showing up, it's a good tell that you might need to take a look at your backlink profile. So here's a couple of tips how to know if you need a backlink audit. 1. You're getting a manual action penalty in Google Search Console for spammy link building. Now, this doesn't happen nearly as much as it used to, or as it did at wide scale at some points in Google's history, but if you're engaging in extremely spammy link building techniques and manipulative tactics, you can bet that Google is going to strike you down with a manual action penalty, and that's even harder to recover from. So beyond that obvious sign that you need a backlink profile audit, here's a couple of more tips that you need to look out for. 1. You've seen a slow drop in traffic or positions of keywords. So even though your content hasn't changed, if you're noticing a significant drop in keywords in rankings, it's often a sign of low quality link building or irrelevant links that are dragging down authority. Tip number 2 is to make sure you keep in mind the history of your backlink profile. Did you buy some links off of Fiverr in 2012 and forget about them, and now you have thousands and thousands of spammy referring domains that are in a different language? Well, that might not be the most natural looking backlink profile. And if those links are hurting you, well, that's why you need to do an audit and disavow those. Now, disavowing those links in Google Search Console and other tools isn't always necessary unless you know that they're causing these ranking issues. But the point is, if you've outsourced link building in the past and you're not sure the quality of the links that were built, it might be a good idea to have an SEO expert take a look at your backlink profile. And on that note, keep in mind that if you've maybe done some spammy link swaps in the past and you haven't reviewed those links in a while, well, that could also be a cause of some unnatural links in your profile. What looked safe for direct spammy link swaps years ago isn't exactly best practices now. There's a lot smarter ways to do link swaps and still get some authority while building your network. Another good sign to know if you need a backlink audit or not is if you're about to start investing in more SEO. If you're about to start a link building campaign yourself, it might be a good idea to take a look at what you already have in your profile. That way, you can strategically determine what links you do need to build in the future. It's always important to keep in mind that a pre-audit ensures that you're starting with good, solid foundation instead of shaky ground on your backlink profile. Another good sign that you might need to do a backlink profile audit is if you're suffering some ranking losses after a Google spam update like we had earlier this month. it could be a good sign that some of your old backlinks are no longer passing the authority that they used to. So maybe it's time to start investing in building more backlinks. So before you go out and start building more links, you need to know, 1, what's in your profile, 2, is it clean and are you starting with a good foundation, and 3, does Google still find whatever is in your backlink profile still trustworthy and relevant? Okay, let's jump into the next section. We're going to start covering some tips on how you can actually perform a worthwhile backlink audit on your website. So the first tip we're going to be going over is what tools you actually need to perform a backlink audit. So the first task is to get a baseline, right? It's like checking your health before you start a workout program or going to a doctor's checkup every year. You need to make sure that you're starting with a good foundation. So what tools do you need to use to do that checkup? Well, first things first, make sure you have Google Search Console set up so that you can see exactly how Google is perceiving your website and if you might actually have manual action penalties due to unnatural link building. That's how you know for sure that you really need a backlink audit. Besides Google Search Console, you can use tools like Ahrefs, SEMrush, or you can even use free tools like the ones we have on our website to keep track of your backlink profile and new links that are being built to your website. Now, there's a couple of main things that you're going to want to keep track of and use these tools to measure. The first things first is pretty obvious. It's the amount of backlinks and the amount of referring domains that you have in your backlink profile. Now, keep in mind that one domain can have multiple backlinks to a website, resulting in multiple backlinks from one referring domain. So, that's the difference between backlinks and referring domains. Tools like Ahrefs and SEMrush can help you keep track of new domains linking to you, and if you have multiple backlinks from one domain. Another thing that you're going to want to measure is the domain rating, or the authority of the domains that are linking to your website. Now, there's quite a few different metrics that are all kind of a little different that are used in the SEO industry. One being DA, which comes from Moz. It stands for Domain Authority, and it's one of the most widely used metrics. One of our favorites is DR, which is Domain Rating, from Ahrefs, and it's similar in the fact that it's a scale from 0 to 100 in order to assess the authoritativeness or the trustworthiness of a domain based on its backlink profile. And oftentimes, with different metrics, it can be other factors, but things like Ahrefs DR mainly has to do with the quality of your backlink profile, which is why it's one of our favorites. It's important to keep in mind that all of these metrics can be manipulated. So, without context, they don't mean a lot. But whenever you look at the quality of a domain and see that it has a high metric like this, and it's also getting a lot of visitors and is a real business, well, you can pretty much understand that it's a trustworthy website. And if Google's going to view it as trustworthy and they're linking to you, well, that's a good vouch for your website. And that's why backlinks matter so much in this grand scheme of things. Another thing that you're going to want to measure is the breakdown between follow and no follow links in your backlink profile. Now, a lot of people don't think this is relevant. I would argue it is still relevant. Actually, it's even more relevant now, because no follow links actually carry a lot of weight in signals that before SEOs didn't care about. So while follow links are still very good in order to get the proverbial link juice that everyone's after, no follow links still have a place whenever trying to build a real natural looking brand and business online. The last simple thing that I would recommend for you to use these tools to measure is your link acquisition velocity. Are you building backlinks too fast or not fast enough compared to your competitors? Well, this is something that you can use to understand if you need to ramp up your link building efforts. So once you've got all these tools hooked up, and once you've got these baseline numbers of doing your audit, well, it's time to take a deeper look and understand what's actually affecting your rankings and the authority and overall visibility of your website. So here are some red flags to look for that might actually turn your link profile into one of your best assets into one of your biggest risks. One of the biggest red flags to look for is if you're getting links from websites with extremely low authority. I'm talking brand new, fresh websites, maybe websites that are littered with ads. These are definitely not ads. These are not links that you want in your backlink profile. It makes you and your website look spammy. The second red flag to look for would be over-optimized anchor text profiles. If you're getting links from all kinds of pages that use the same exact anchor text over and over and over, that's a good sign to Google that you're doing some unnatural link building, and that's not what you want in your link profile. Another red flag to look out for would be sudden unnatural spikes in link volume. So, for instance, if Ahrefs is telling you that you're getting 400 links from one domain on one day, well, that doesn't exactly look natural to Google. Now, red flag number 4 should be taken with a grain of salt. But really what matters is relevancy when it comes to backlinking. So if you're getting links from irrelevant domains, like for example, if you're an SEO company and you're getting links from tons of pet blogs in a different language, well, that might not be the relevancy that you're looking for. It might not exactly hurt you either, but it's definitely not going to help you as much as a calculated relevant backlink would. Now, the last tip that we have whenever it comes to spotting red flags in your backlink profile is to keep in mind that if you're finding quite a significant amount of toxic backlinks, there's no need to necessarily panic and start randomly disavowing. Make sure to have a plan to recover if needed, but also understand that spam happens everywhere on the internet. So at the end of the day, for a good peace of mind, make sure to use some good tools and keep an eye out for these red flags. Also, partner with a good SEO company that's going to be a reliable link building partner. Let's jump into the next section, and let's talk about step 3 of your backlink audit, and that's quick fixes and actionable audit moves that you can make. So once you've flagged your issues, what do? Well, here's a couple of tips to help you get started. 1, if you're noticing some backlinks missing from your profile that you previously had, well, reach out to those websites. If those pages are 404 error, reach out to those websites and see if they can put your backlink on a different page. It's worth it if those backlinks are actually passing on good authority, and you can tell that in your profile. So remember, if you lost links, make sure to reclaim them. Now the next step has to do with cleaning up some anchor text. Make sure to diversify your anchors. If you have control over some of your backlinks and you can go back and edit them or request some of your link partners to edit your backlink profile, well, that might be a good idea if you are over-optimized for some anchor text. Keep in mind, if you're trying to rank for a specific keyword and you have thousands and thousands of backlinks all with the same anchor text, well, it doesn't exactly look natural. So, if you can control it, try to. Make sure to diversify your anchors with branded links, keyword-rich links, and then also maybe some less keyword links, but still have relevant context about whatever article your link is in. One of the biggest action items that can come from a backlink audit would be to submit a disavow file using Google Search Console. But before you run off and start disavowing every single one of the spammy links that you find, make sure to talk to an expert first, because if you accidentally disavow links that Google was ignoring or was actually helping your profile, that might have a negative impact on your rankings. So only make sure to use this if you're for sure knowing that your spammy links are causing a drop in traffic or rankings. And the last biggest action tip that I can give you after performing a backlink audit would be to go out and start filling in the gaps in your audit. If you notice that your competitors are getting links from certain domains that you're not, well, that's a good plan for your backlinking strategy. Reach out to those domains and look at link building techniques that you're not currently utilizing. The good news is that if you're working with authority builders, we integrate these audits into our strategies all the time. So we take care of that hard part for you. Let's talk about step 4 of your backlink audit, or what you should do after you perform your backlink audit. This step has to do more with ongoing reporting and monitoring your backlink profile using the tools that I mentioned earlier. So, once you're done with the audit, once you've done some quick fixes, do you think you're done? Well, no. Actually, you have to continuously keep auditing your backlink profile because new websites could be building links to you all the time. So, some things you could do is to set quarterly, monthly, or even more often than that, reports on the new links that are built to your website. You can do this with pretty much any backlinking tool like Ahrefs, SEMrush, etc. Now on these reports, make sure to look out for anomalies when it comes to link velocity. So if you're getting hundreds and thousands of backlinks within a week, and you previously weren't getting that many backlinks, well, that's a good sign that something's going on, and you might need to talk to an expert. One of the best things that you can do to keep a good eye on your backlink profile using these tools is to monitor your link building efforts currently and see if they are evolving as your business evolves. So for example, what was cutting it back in 2022 might not be cutting it in 2025. You might need to change up your strategy a little bit more. Brand mentions, entity context, all of these things matter a lot more if you're trying to climb in traditional search engine rankings and you're also trying to get cited in AI search. Alright, now that we covered some actionable tips that you can do on yourself when it comes to monitoring and auditing your backlink profile, let's shine some light on our team here at Authority Builders. We want to do a special spotlight on our link audit product. So if you want to make sure that your link profile is working with you and not against you, well, our service at Authority Builders is going to give you a good benchmark of where you're currently at compared to your competitors. We're going to identify some removal or disavow opportunities, if there actually is any. And then 3, we're going to then execute some link building techniques for you to elevate you and get you to where you need to be compared to your competitors. Let's jump into this week's segment of 60 Seconds of SEO. So, some of the main things that we covered this week is that not all links are good links. Make sure to do an internal audit to understand what is actually helping your backlink profile and what could be hurting you. Now, make sure to also keep in mind that sudden spikes in velocity of backlinks could be a bad sign that you're doing some unnatural link building. But make sure to actually look at the sources of those backlinks before you make any rash decisions. And make sure to keep in mind that these audits are going to inform the future of your link building strategy. It's not just a one-time checkbox. Okay, that just about does it for this week's episode of Authority Builders Ranking Secrets. And make sure to keep in mind that if you're ready to ensure that your backlink profile is working for you and not against you, continuously monitor your backlink profile and start acting now. So, tell me in the comments below, where are you at in your link building audit journey? Are you just getting familiar with some tools? Have you submitted disavow files before? Let me know what you think and what you're going to be doing to take action on your backlink profile. And make sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already, and tune in next week for another episode of Authority Builders Ranking Secrets.